Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. Today's video is a super simple one. I'm just showing you guys how I encapsulate chunky glitters. Now this particular video, I did record this on Christmas Eve. It was meant to be part of my Charlie's Nail Art advent calendar videos. So if you watched my channel throughout December, you would have seen that each day I was opening up the Charlie's Nail Art advent calendar and sharing a design with you guys with whatever was behind that particular day. So on the 24th of December was these beautiful chunky glitter stars, but unfortunately I didn't get a chance to upload this video. I was so busy on Christmas Eve and I didn't get a chance to do the voiceover to get it uploaded, but I saved the footage so that I could still upload it, and I was hoping that I would get it uploaded between Christmas and New Year, but then I come down with COVID and it just really knocked me for six, so I haven't had the chance to get the video uploaded, but here it is today. So these beautiful stars were the last day of the Charlie's Nail Art advent calendar, and when I was recording the video I didn't want to do anything too Christmassy with them because it would have already been Christmas Eve and I felt as though not many people would be watching videos that day anyway. So I just did a simple glitter fade with them, and they're not exactly Christmassy. You could definitely use these stars all year round, and this particular design is something I would definitely wear throughout January, especially because I love these greys and nude colours in January anyway. So let's talk about the design. I'm coming in with Beach Walk. Now this is from CJP. It's one of their coloured acrylics and it is very highly pigmented, so a little bit goes a long way. Now I've placed my first bead down at the cuticle area and blended it down, and then I'm just going to come in with another bead of acrylic just to cover the very tip of the nail. I'm keeping the application fairly thin because the stars are fairly chunky, so you want to keep each of your layers thin, especially if you're working on shorter nails as well, because if you're working on shorter nails you won't need as much of an apex, so it can get a little tricky encapsulating more chunky things. Now when I was applying the acrylic here, the tip did look a little bit patchy, so I just come in with another bead there just to fix that up. And I just want to take a moment to apologise for the groggy voice. Like I said, I had COVID and I don't feel like my throat is fully repaired yet from all the coughing. So once I've got my colour down, a nice thin layer, I'm going to come in with those chunky stars. Now I'm picking these up using my CJP crystal glass, and initially I picked up a too large bead of the stars. I've only got a small amount of acrylic and I've gone in and picked up loads of the stars, so I'm just working with it basically. It's not a problem. If it was a little bit too tricky to work with, you could wipe them off, but I felt as though it was fine. It just took a little bit more time playing around and moving those stars into place. When I'm usually working with chunky things like this, I would just pick up a few at a time because it's a little bit easier. Now when you are working with any kind of glitter, I always find it easier to have your brush full of monomer. So you can see here I haven't wiped off my brush since I placed down that acrylic and glitter mix, so that it's got plenty of monomer in it and I'm able to move those chunkier pieces around into place without causing any issues or without them getting stuck into my brush. If you do feel as though they're sticking to your brush, then wipe off your brush and just add a little bit more monomer to your brush. So I'm now going to come in and pick up a few more stars, and what I'm doing here is I'm just picking these particular stars up individually, so I'm not picking them up with any additional acrylic. I'm just coming in and picking up the odd star using my wet brush. The beach walk underneath is still tacky enough that if I pick the stars up just with my monomer, I'm able to press them down and they will hold in place ready for encapsulating. And I just find this way a lot easier to do a glitter fade because you're able to place those stars exactly where you want. If you have found that your colour underneath has fully set, you could put a wash of clear acrylic down so that you've got something to stick them in with, or you could continue picking them up using teeny tiny beads of clear acrylic. There's plenty of ways to apply them, so it's just always about finding what's easiest for you. Now, although the most of this glitter is the chunkier stars, you have got the smaller stars there as well. So I like to tip these out into a little glitter dish so that I'm able to rummage around and pick out some of the smaller stars to place down as well. Now, I probably should have sped this part of the video up, but I did leave it all in real time because when I was recording my advent calendar, I decided I would keep all of the videos in real time because it was requested on my channel. But this part, as you can see, I'm just really working quite slow, getting those glitter pieces down. Now, because I was working quite slow, that acrylic underneath the glitters started to set in place. So I just popped a wash of clear acrylic over the stars that I'd last placed down, just so that I knew they would hold in place. Otherwise, when it comes to encapsulating, you can pull them off. So I then left this now to fully set, so all of those stars were stuck down in place, and I'm now going to come in and encapsulate. Now, whenever I'm encapsulating something chunky, I like to wash over the nail with my wet brush first of all. Now, I'm making sure that I've only got a teeny tiny amount of monomer on my brush when I'm doing this, because if you was working on yourself or a client, you wouldn't want that monomer touching the skin. I just find that washing over the chunky glitters with your monomer really helps your clear acrylic flow all around the chunky areas, especially with these kind of stars where you've got the gaps in the middles and the edges can stick up a little bit. It just really helps your clear acrylic flow around them. Then I'm coming in and encapsulating. So on this particular nail, I decided to start off by encapsulating from the middle down to the tip. In all honesty, it comes down to how I'm feeling on the day, whether I will start by encapsulating at the cuticle area or the tip area. I do find encapsulating from the center and doing the tip first and then working my way up towards the cuticle area is the easiest. So I'm now coming in with my next bead of acrylic and I'm placing this down roughly in that apex area, leaving the majority of it there and just blending it down. Obviously, if you was working on yourself or your client, you would need to make sure that you're focusing on building up all of your strength and structure. I didn't stress too much about building up too much of an apex when I was working on display tips, simply because no one's going to be wearing these nails. But because we are encapsulating in those chunky glitters, you do need to use a fairly medium to thick layer of clear acrylic to make sure they are all encapsulated down. So for this design, I have built up pretty much most of my apex that I would build up if I was wearing a nail of this length. Obviously, if you were doing this design on a shorter nail, you wouldn't need to build up as much thickness in that apex area. How beautiful do these stars look? By the way, they have such a pretty opal slash iridescent effect to them. I really like how they look slightly different depending on how they capture the light. Now, whenever you are encapsulating anything, you do need to make sure it's fully encapsulated. So if you have any areas where the stars are still slightly sticking up, then come in with another small amount of acrylic. And this is why you need to keep your layer underneath those chunky glitters nice and thin. You will know when everything is encapsulated because it goes from looking shiny to looking dull and matte. Off camera, I then filed and buffed this nail just to make sure it was all nicely contoured and I was happy with the shape. And we're then ready to bring back the shininess. So I'm going to be using the CJP Tack Free Top Gloss. I absolutely love this top coat. Obviously, it's part of the CJP acrylic system. So whenever I'm working with my CJP acrylic, I like to match it up by using the correct top coat. So I'm just going to come in and apply a thin layer of this. And one of the reasons why I love this top coat is because it gives off a really hard glass-like finish. It's just really, really crystal clear as well. So I'm just going to apply a thin layer, keeping it nice and even. You can wipe off your sides if any of the top coat pulls down the sides. And just look how shiny and clear that is. So I'm going to pop that in to cure for 60 seconds and then I have left a little clip and a picture of the finished result. So also, this is my first video of 2022, so I just wanted to say I hope you all had a lovely Christmas and a happy new year to you all. Let me know how you're all doing in the comments below and I shall see you very soon in the next video. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.